It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandal's 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to the Motivated Mindset with your host, me, Jose Flores, and we are going to go into the why behind what we do in life. Have you ever wondered what truly drives people? I know I do. What fuels their purpose and motivation? In this podcast, we're going to explore those profound questions, uncovering the stories and insights that shape our journeys. Join me as we navigate in the depths of human ambition and uncover the secrets to living a fulfilled life, purpose, and driven. Let's get motivated. Thank you. You're in the show. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're live. Okay, people. We got hit by a thunderstorm. I'm trying to work this right here. You probably could see me. I hope you people can see me. We got hit with something hard here. I'm trying to work this right now. Okay. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this done. I hope you can see me. Give me a moment to get things worked out. Okay, I'm in the show. All right. Let me see if I can get my guest on. All right. Let me see. You're in. Welcome, welcome. Hey, people. We're doing a couple of things here, but hey, we're not even. Can you hear me, Laboy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We're gonna get this started. We're not even gonna go just based on nature and things we can't control here. So, hey, we're gonna start with tell us a little bit about yourself, Laboy, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Jose. Man, I'm excited to be here with you and the you know uh, motivated mindset family.
Yep,
My
yep.
name is Denyzlo Laboy. I'm the executive director and founder of Taino, which is an acronym I use for the actual tribal name, and it stands for Taino American Indigenous National Organization.
Mhm.
I spent over 30 years serving this country in the capacity of law enforcement and public service. But my heart has always been connected to my cultural roots. Puerto Rican native. And
Yeah.
so along the way, I discovered a calling that was bigger than just my personal journey. It was about restoring the truth and the visibility of my people and the visibility of the Arawak indigenous
Hmm.
people, which consists of Tainos, Garafunus, Kalinagos, and Loconos. Of course, the Arawaks were a tribe, a Caribbean tribe that thrived across most of the Caribbean islands. A large population of Tainos are found along Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So I'm here today to share my story, and
Yes, sir.
it isn't just a history lesson. It's a story of survival, empowerment, and resilience. It's about why this work matters to me, and honestly, why I feel like it should matter to everyone listening here today. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey. It started in fifth grade during
Hmm.
Native American History Month, uh, where my school teacher, who happened to be white,
Hmm.
and I still remember her name, but I won't say her name,
Yeah.
said, "Hey, is anybody Native American?" And I remember my grandmother sharing stories about her ancestors, which were obviously Tainos. And she was telling me a little bit about the Tainos and the Arawaks, the whole nine. And I was intrigued. And I remember the teacher, when I put my hand up and I said, me, and I said, she was like, "Oh, what tribe are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm Arawak Taíno, Puerto Rican." And she said, "Oh, your people don't exist. They're dead. They were killed off."
Wow.
Um, yeah. So that's how my journey started. You know, and it's been with me my entire life, and just trying to navigate. At that point, I realized that that's why you don't see me. That's why you don't think that you should give me the right books or teach me the right stuff or even matter that I even mattered. So it had a big impact on my life, and I always felt like I was trying to find uh, who I am or what my value is. My value is in this country. When I say who I am, I knew I was, through and through, based on my personal family relationships. My parents and my family. There's no issue there, but along the big scheme of things, just trying to better understand about who we are, and then more so trying to wonder why there was so much what I call animosity and hatred towards people that look like me. And so that's where my journey started. So as far as the organization itself, we're a nonprofit built on a simple, powerful truth. The Taino people are not extinct. We're still here, and that's a topic and a statement that we always make. We're the descendants of the indigenous Arawak people, as I mentioned. Our presence and influence is stretched across the Caribbean islands and the Americas, and our organization, we look to preserve our culture, advocate for justice, and to create a space where people can be seen and heard. I started this organization because I saw a gap. So many people in our communities are misrepresented or they're completely erased from the conversation. And we do this through education, cultural revival programs, community partnerships, and advocacy on a national level.
Wow.
And so we're very excited about what we're doing because the truth matters, identity matters.
Yes, it does.
Representation matters. And when one culture is silenced, we all lose part of human history. And Taino isn't just about history; it's about the future. It's about building something our children and grandchildren can stand proudly on.
Cool bean. So, with that being said, what is Taino, and what does the organizational do in that sense?
What we do is we look to preserve and empower the empowerment of the entire Taino, Arawak generally. My focus is Taino because I'm Taino, but essentially, as I mentioned, there's 4 sub indigenous groups under the Arawak. My focus is on my personal tribe, which is Taino. So we look to preserve and empower the identity of our people. When people ask me why does indigenous matter? Indigenous identity matter. I tell them that when you know who you are, you know how strong you are. For Taino people, centuries of colonization, they tried to erase us, but our identity is still alive in our language, in our traditions, and in our bloodlines. At Taino, we're building a program that makes people feel proud to say that I am Taino. And this isn't just about indigenous people. Identity gives us all strength. Whether you're African American, whether you're Latino, Asian, or from anywhere else, preserving culture means preserving the very thing that makes us unique, but also connected. And when one community feels empowered, it empowers us all. I mentioned the word colonization. The U.S.'s inheritance of colonization. It stands at the core debate in the framing of the argument about our existence. It's vital to understand the Taino experience in modern history. And while the United States did not directly initially colonize the Taino, the U.S. is undeniably inherited the Spain's colonial system after the Spanish-American War in 1898. And at the core of the debate is the inherited colonial exploitation. When the U.S. took Puerto Rico from Spain, it inherited structures of oppression that Spain created. So rather than just work to dismantle them and to do away with those injustices, the U.S. took advantage and they benefited from it, and it perpetuated it even more. And it continued the displacement and disenfranchisement of indigenous descendants people. And the U.S. government was fully aware of Puerto Rico's indigenous descendants, in population. Unlike the treaty posture, where many native nations in the continental U.S. and the U.S. did not recognize Taino descendants. As they didn't recognize it as a sovereign country or a sovereign people. Negotiations of these parties, Puerto Rico was treated as a possession. Spain imposed enforced labor land dispossession and cultural eraser. Like completely trying to erase us. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
if you kill a language, you kill a people, right? So
absolutely, absolutely.
the U.S. extended systematic control through territorial governments and laws, and that's how it all started.
Right.
I would go into the acts. People probably don't know them, but you can look up the Foraker Act in 1900 and the Jones Act in 1917, which actually talks about the interest, dependency, and ignorance of the indigenous claims. So it can get a lot deeper. But
Oh,
we
I
don't
know
have
it
time
does.
for that today. But
You're
you know,
absolutely correct. No, I got you.
mhm,
And I know you covered some of the why indigenous matters, because it does matter, you know.
yeah.
Um, and I know you can cover some more of that if you wanted to on that, you know.
Well, I also mentioned, unincorporated territory, right?
Yes, you did.
Um,
Yes.
you know, so, um, so just to give you a better bird's eye view of what that means, an unincorporated territory is a land that's controlled by the United
hmm
States, but it's not considered part of the U.S. in
hmm
the in full constitutional sense. So
Right, right.
people living there are subject to U.S. laws and authorities, but they don't have the same rights or representation as people in the U.S. states. Congress decides which parts of the Constitution apply to the territory instead of the whole Constitution applying
Mm.
automatically. To put in like basic layman terms, think of it as renting a house you live in. You pay. You're bound by the landlord's rules, but you don't own it or get the full benefits of ownership. Puerto Rico and other unincorporated territories are rented spaces under U.S.
Got
control.
it.
They belong to the U.S., but they're not fully included as equals. And
Got
additionally, um, there is historical evidence of Taino land in existence through like archaeology, like you talked about. You see, there's been settlements and ceremonial sites across Puerto Rico,
hmm
Española, Cuba, Jamaica, and there's also Spanish records, and there's
Right.
chroniclers, right? For example, like Bartolome de las Casas. I may not be pronouncing it completely correctly.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
where there's documented records of caciques and governance in the land, and then there's also continuity, which talks about genetics, linguistics, and cultural studies. Living communities and organizations today can be found in many rural communities in Puerto Rico. I just came back from one with my wife and my brothers and our family. We visited the Parque Ceremonial Indígena de Caguana in Utuado, where if you go there, you got to ride through a bunch of mountains to get there, but
hmm
you'll get a profound, real perspective view of some significant Taino history and information and knowledge. So I would recommend that to anybody. So there's other areas like in Ponce and Puerto Rico also where they have like the Centro de Ceremonial Indígena
hmm
tribes, and of course there's a lot of oral traditions, right? Family histories, like my grandmother, would share with me little bits and pieces, and we preserve the practices and identity despite the suppression. Like even today, Puerto Ricans use Taino words like hamaca, right, or which stands for hammock, right?
Right,
Hamaca
right.
is a Taino, is an Arawak Taino word. There's also huracan, right, which obviously is
Yeah.
hurricane, right?
Hurricane. Right, right, right.
So, right, so and so and then there are traditions like the cassava bread, right? Making spiritual reverences for ancestors. And they still trace directly back to Taino heritage, and it's all proof that we never disappeared. Our culture is still alive in our daily life.
Yeah.
You know,
No, absolutely. That brings me to the question. I think when I did, like, what is Taino American Indigenous National Organization, doing to support the revival of culture, tradition, and heritage? You know.
like I said, we're doing a lot of advocacy by way of doing we're building programs, we're working on initiatives to help bring about the conversation, the celebration, and the revival of our language, and we're looking to raise funds ultimately to help us fight for eventual travel recognition.
Mm.
That's the main purpose and goal of our organization. And we're looking to try to take a deeper dive and seeking partnerships with people who have interest, people who have knowledge. I'm not the respecter and knowledge of and the guru of all things Taino. Essentially for me, this all started really, mind you, like I said, this happened when I was in 5th grade. It wasn't until about 15 years ago where I started seeing stuff on the internet and finding stuff on the internet that talked about the Arawak Taínos and our connection to for us from here in the U.S. or those people who have like Caribbean blood in them in some of the islands that I mentioned and their connection to the Taino bloodline. So it's still fairly new subject, right? Is what I'm saying. People are still learning. I'm still learning. I consider myself a lifetime student. I'm just hoping to try to get more people involved. People who are willing to teach, people who are willing to learn, and people who are willing to support us for the greater good.
That absolutely that's just amazing. I know when I started learning about this, I was just amazed how much history I got. And the other thing is what is the future near or far for Taino? I think, and what are you all doing to working on it to achieve that? And how can everybody watching can assist and help?
Well, great question. I appreciate it. We're working to, like I said, revival cultural traditions and heritage. One of the most beautiful parts of our work is bringing traditions back to life. Like we host storytelling events, cultural gatherings, and educational programs that teach about Taino language, ceremonies, and in even our arts and music. For example, as simple as teaching young people Taino how their grandparents' customs connect back to the indigenous traditions, and it gives them their roots, and roots gives you resilience, right? So reviving culture isn't just about nostalgia; it's about creating continuity, so the next generation doesn't grow up disconnected. When people witness this, they and even those outside of the community, they realize it's not just a Taino story; it's a human story, and remembering where we come from. Taino also stands in like I said, in the fight for justice, for sovereignty. Indigenous communities across the United States and the Caribbean still face systematic challenges in the lack of representation, economic inequality, and policies. And they ignore our voices. So we advocate for fair treatment and for acknowledgement in education systems, and for inclusion in national conversations about equity. This matters for all of us because justice for one community strengthens justice for every community. When you stand with indigenous voices, you stand up for the principle that no group should be silenced, ignored, or misrepresented. Right. So,
absolutely.
Sovereignty means dignity, and dignity is something every person listening deserves. So everyone here deserves dignity, right? And deserves to, know who they are, where they come from, and feel proud about it. We're supporting intergenerational healing. Our communities carry that, what we all call intergenerational wounds,
that's deep.
Trauma passed down through colonization, displacement, and cultural erasure. But the good news is that trauma can be passed down, and so can healing, right? So if we can make it through the trauma, we can also heal. So at our organization, we create a space where elders can share knowledge and stories with youth, with their families, can reconnect with traditions, and where people can have a safe place to heal and to be a part of. And honestly, this is a universal lesson. So healing isn't just for indigenous people; it's for everyone. We all have things in our families that we carry, but when we sit down, share, and build bridges between generations, we find strength, forgiveness, and the ability to move forward together. You know, we're here to challenge the myth of our existence.
Right, right.
One of the biggest lies ever told was that Tainos were extinct, you know, and, you know, like I said, you know, that teacher told me that we were dead. So I knew right then and there that she, and as far as she's concerned, I was just a figment of her imagination. I didn't, you know, but I'm here, for an organization that's here, and thousands of Taino descendants are still here, you know, so the myth is obviously inaccurate.
Yeah. And you know, another question I know you posed was we want to reiterate the needs, your efforts from the motivated mindset perspective, you know, on ensuring listener engagement. What else would you like to offer in this regard when we talk about that in that format?
Before I get into that, I actually want to, you know, it feeds into that, but you know, some of the things we're working on, because I know you asked like, what are we doing in the future?
Right.
You know, right now, we're currently working on what I think are two major events. One is a key initiative. I think my vice president is on here. I want to give her a shout out, Yvette Delgado, because
oh my goodness,
you know, I'm jumping off course right now, but I have to share this because I'm humbled and I'm excited, but I'm also proud, right? So Yvette was my mentor.
Wow.
Going into my current career as a special emphasis program manager. You know, so what, you know, and she was great. You know, she knew her job. She knew how to tell me my job and make sure that I exceeded at it and was great at it. And the entire time that she's doing that, I'm also watching her because I'm thinking about my organization and thinking to myself, wow, she would be great part of my organization. And jumping fast forward, you know, one day we're having a conversation. I said, hey, I'm doing this. Would you take this ride with me? And she said, absolutely. And then, you know, without even batting an eye, and, you know, now she's, like I said, you know, she's probably serving as my vice chair from our organization, and she's doing a great job. And, you know, what I love about it is that, you know, I'm learning from her still, right? And so, and, you know, and so we're working well together because none of us have egos. One of the things that I try to stress with our organization is, like I said on this podcast, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything.
Right.
I think the smartest, greatest leaders in the world surround themselves with people who are subject matter experts. I may not be the subject matter expert, so I'm going to find me the subject matter expert to these things to make sure that we shine, to make sure that we the best things, you know. And it's you know, so it's just it's already an amazing ride. So to get back now to the response is I said, Yvette, we need money. I said, Yvette, we need money. We need to raise money. You know, I have some ideas. I welcome everybody's ideas. You know, she's working right now, organizing our VIP fundraiser, exclusive fundraising event. It's set for April. We don't have the exact date, but this coming April. You know, so basically it's an event where we're going to give you a bird's eye view again into who we are, what we're doing for the sake of raising funds to help support some of the causes and things that I just mentioned here today.
Right.
And I'm excited about that. And we already have some people who are looking forward to it. So, but we still need everyone's help and support. And along those lines, I'm extremely excited to one of the initiatives that I try to play golf. If I may have some of my friends and family here who have played with me, or you know, if I can say this, I suck, right? I suck, but I'm trying, right? But I love the game. I love the game, and so one day, one of my cousin's golf tournaments, I was on the tee, and I'm getting ready to hit my driver, and you know, and then it's sort of like a light and an epiphany hit me, and I was like, whoa. And I pulled back and stepped off the tee. And my cousin says to me, like, yo, what's going on? I said, man, I just had this crazy, phenomenal idea. I said, this is unbelievable. He's like, what is it? I said, these golf courses make billions upon billions of dollars across the US. How often do you hear or know about any of these golf courses paying homage, giving respect, celebrating, recognizing the tribes that used to once thrive on these lands, and or more, even more so, give back to these communities that they thrive from. And it hit me, wow, the Sacred Greens Golf Invitational. So I've been blessed with surrounding myself with some, like I said, great people. And so I said, hey, I want to. One of the initiatives that the Taino organization is doing is called the Sacred Greens Celebrity Golf Invitational. And so like I said, it's all about using golf as a tool to bring in people with like-mindedness to bring more awareness and celebrate tribes, not necessarily just Taino. Eventually, one of the main goals is to take the Sacred Greens to Puerto Rico, to Dominican Republic, to Jamaica, and do the same thing, repeat the same thing, which is, let's start having these golf courses be proud of the fact that they're thriving on our land, and let's call them into action to try to find ways to support the Native American communities that thrived on those lands. And for us, that would be Jamaica, Puerto Rico. There's plenty of beautiful golf courses in those islands. Dominican Republic. I played the Hard Rock every time I go to Dominican Republic with my cousin. Beautiful.
Right.
So we're I don't know if James is on here, but we're gonna be. So we already have some buy-in from several celebrities, which we're very excited about it. I don't want to put their names out there, but right now it's very early. But we have some high-level professional athletes and major players within the local community, in our government, who are basically, hey, I love it, and this is something that's needed. This is something that we have to do. And I don't know if Keith Colston is on here. I'm hoping he is. Keith, I'm sorry, I'm about to put you out there, Keith, if you're listening. But Keith, his name is Keith Colston. Keith is what I call, in my own funny way, the highest ranking cacique or chief in the state of Maryland, because he's the administrative director for the Maryland Commission of Indian Affairs for the state of Maryland, working directly under the great Governor Moore, Wes Moore.
Wow.
He was very key in helping me or getting me on my path to start this organization, because we were having a conversation and he said to me, what are you doing with your tribe and your efforts? You and I talked about this and that, whatever. I said, I've always wanted to do something by way of a nonprofit that supports. And he was very candid. He said, we both know that the Tainos did not thrive anywhere in Maryland, but just like here in Maryland and throughout the United States, there are people who identify, who maybe even don't know that they're part of the Taino, Arawak Taíno. So you have to start your organization here in Maryland. We welcome it. You would be the first and only organization that people who identify as Taínos have a place to call home. So and that's why I ultimately I was like, I got to do this, and here we are, man. We set sail, and we're a very small group right now, and but it's not stopping us. We're moving very strategically, and like I said, my thing for me is I'm doing my best to surround myself with people who know more than me about whatever their expert ability is, knowledge is. Let's sit down and talk, because
absolutely,
if you're interested, there's a way for you to support us. So that's what it's all about, man.
And you're right. Real quick, shout out to Yvette. She is stupendous. She is amazing. Just so you know, I wanted to back you up on that. And as we get ready to close down, what do you want our listeners to take away today from what you put out?
Thank you. What I want to do is reiterate, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'll just say this. I think I lost you. Did we lose everybody? Oh my goodness.
Back on, back on, back
Okay,
on.
we're back on. We're back on. Thank
We
you.
just had something hit again, but we're good
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
But you were saying,
Well, I'll just say this: have you ever felt like you've been erased or overlooked?
yeah.
Imagine an entire people
Mhm.
living that reality, right? Visit our website, tainonatives.org,
Yes. Mhm.
T-A-I-N-O, natives,
Mhm.
Natives.org,
Mhm.
and just follow our journey on social media at Taino, A-M-E-R, Taino Amer. I don't spell it
Mhm.
out.
Yep. Yep.
Indigenous, the word national, N-A-T-L, or
Mhm.
a Taino Amer Indigenous National Organization on Instagram, and on TikTok at Taino Aino,
Mhm.
Taino
Yep.
Aino. We hope to inspire identity, justice, and resilience.
Mhm.
And this is the motivated, mindset podcast, man. Let's try to remain
And,
positive. Let's try to bring continued energy, in especially in today's current climate. My mindset has always been this: like, obstacles
yes.
are not stop signs. They're opportunities, right?
Hmm.
Uh, we Taino people face colonization,
Hmm.
oppression, and erasure, but we're still here. And
Yeah.
that's the mindset I carry into everything I do. Um, if our culture can survive 400 years of being told it's gone,
Yes.
um, then listening and surviving whatever challenges is in front of you right now, it should be nothing. Resilience is in
Absolutely.
your DNA. It's not just Taino DNA, but human DNA.
Yeah. And you're also looking for volunteers, ain't you? What are you looking for?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
We're
Hmm.
absolutely looking for it. We're looking for volunteers on all levels. College students, if you're out there
Hmm.
looking to get some college hours, internships, opportunities, please reach out to us. We're available. We're looking for memberships. Please know that we take our membership seriously. At
Hmm.
some point, you're going to be asked to take on or support or volunteer at one of our events. So you get benefits, but there is an expectation of duty
Hmm.
as a member. It's not much, but we're serious. At least we think that we're serious about what we're trying to do here. And there's also a lot of positions within our board. We're looking for people, like I said, who are subject matter experts. So if you believe that you're a subject matter expert and you have the time and you have the willingness, please, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to have you on board so we can continue building.
Yeah, no, it's been, and yeah, definitely. And if you need to get the information, just DM me, send me some information, and I'll send the flyer. We'll be putting the flyer, and of course, donations. How important are donations to the organization?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed that. I got sidetracked because I
It's
saw
okay.
something. I saw
It's
something in
okay.
the chat.
Well, I was talking about donations. That's what keeps an organization alive. So I know you talked about it before, but hey, if we can support.
Yes, yes. If you can support, by all means, every little bit counts. Every
Hmm.
little bit counts. We are a legitimate 501c3, and so we're able to take charitable donations. You can go to our website, and we have specific dollar amounts that you can contribute to. Every little bit helps. So
Hmm.
feel free to donate if you can. Before I forget, I'm noticing in the chat, Migdalia.
Good, good, good.
You know, she wrote Taínos, the first people. And
Yes.
let me explain what that means, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah.
don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that. When the colonizers, and I don't like to try I try my best not to say that one person's name, but we all know who we're talking about, who
Hmm.
called himself the founder of America. When he and his colonizers came over to the island of Borinquen, they came across our native people, the Tainos, and we're called the first people because we were the first indigenous group of people that he supposedly came across and attempted to slaughter. So it's a phrase that it doesn't come from a good place, but it means a lot to know that we're still here, right? So we were the first people. We're the first people that he came across, and we weren't the only natives that he tried to kill off, but we were the first ones.
No, absolutely. Now, Mr. Laboy, we're just glad that you were able to hear. Being here has made a difference. I know you've educated me, but I didn't even know. And I think we had spoke earlier. I got people in Santo Domingo and then in Puerto Rico, and I know being, born and raised in New York, this has been a new thing, and I definitely will be looking into it and spreading the news on what your organization is doing, and I think it's so important. Because I'm working off the phone. Are there any other questions that you can see on there that you may want to answer?
I don't. Nope. I don't see.
All right.
I don't see any here. Try you. So no questions. But
Okay.
if there's time, I can take one or two questions.
Yeah.
Omar, thanks for joining. Everybody, thanks for joining here. I appreciate you guys taking the interest. Supporting me, supporting Jose. This is an amazing platform you have, and I appreciate you. And I look forward to coming.
I can't control Mother Nature when they hit the, and that's exactly what happened. We got hit, and then just power surges. So, but that's okay. We made it work, and I wanted to make sure that you put out what you needed to put out, and that your voice is heard. Our voices are as Latinos, because I think that's so important. Finding our roots. And if there's anything else you want to put out, and just I just want to say thank you for the audience and putting up with, what happened.
Oh no, man. I want to thank my grandmother, right, posthumously, right? Because without that information, without that knowledge, this would have never been my journey.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's all we got. And like I said, in the future, when you write your book and I see you on the Hollywood Star getting that award, brother, I will be reaching out to you, man.
And I'll just say this for everybody who's listening, and my wife will tell you too. I'm not one of those people who forgets, right? So if I knew you now, I'll know you at that time that you're talking about.
Absolutely. Cool beans. All right, my man.
Thank you.
But I want to say thank you to everybody for putting up what we did here. But I think people got a lot out of it. And especially if they go on the website, please go on the website. It is so informative. And volunteers, we need volunteers, and we'll be putting that out also. So just thank you.
Volunteers and leaders. We need leaders. We need people who are willing to step up for the cause. And please reach out to us.
All right. Cool beans. Well, gracias por todo, Mr. Laboy. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. Adelante.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, We're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.